we have the Ultra Recon Squad, Dusk and Solera. For the first fight, they're actually quite good. Headbutt is very strong on this Furfrou, and it does at least have some good stats. Next is Weepole. Strong, at least for this point in the game, it's not bad, especially with that pretty good Venoshock. Though in the next fight, it is not as good. It is far outstated for this point, and its moves are not great. The same is true for the Force fight. Next, we have the Dusk Mane and Dawn Wings Necrosma fights. Excellent stats across the board. A respective healing move of Morning Sun or Moonlight, Psycho Cut or Psychic, Night Slash or Powered Gem, and Sunsteel Strike or Moongeist Beam. Much like the Black and White Kyurem fight, this is not a catch legendary boss battle. This is a beat legendary boss battle. So, we're going over it because it is an actual fight you have to fight. And it's pretty strong. This thing does have legendary stats and some pretty great moves. The same applies for Ultra Necrozma. This is just a straight up fight. And this is a fight. The prior one can be a bit tough. This is just downright mean. Ultra Necrozma has an Omni Boost. This thing is naturally quite fast and exceptionally aggressive, especially because of Nero Force complementing its extremely wide coverage. But it also has naturally good bulk for those stats, meaning even if the boosts are removed or crits are applied, it can still take those hits in stride and deal the damage out very, very well. So really, the buffs just magnify what's already amazing. Photon Geyser is a fantastically brutal move. It uses the highest offensive stat Necrozma has to always ensure it's dealing the most damage. It also ignores abilities, so it is always hitting as hard as possible. Smart Strike is excellent coverage for Fairy and Ice types. Power Gem is the same for Bug and Ice as well. Dragon Pulse, great for Dragon, as well as just being solid stab. And this is just not an easy fight by any means. Nothing prior comes close to this. This thing has a base 754 base attack total, with attack, speed, special attack, special defense, all being naturally boosted by 50%. Even without those, it still hits hard and can take hits quite well. There is not much outside of this thing, it's just a face-melting monster. The Nihilego fight, which is also fought in the Aether Foundation at the same level as the one in Sun and Moon, it is the exact same, level same, buff is the same, 5-turn lead is the same, moves same, everything same. But now, move on to the Elite Four, and it's been a long time coming. A little bit of change here. Malign is now leading the charge. Klefki for a lead, highly annoying with maxed defenses. Prankster, 3 very solid support moves: Spikes, Thunder Wave, and Reflect. Even if Flash Cannon is not great, this thing is not meant for damage, it's meant for tech and annoyance. Bisharp, great. 252 physical stats, solid. Magnezone at 252 in special stats, and sturdy? Lovely. Metagross. It is still a Metagross. Bulky offense incarnate with 252 in both defenses, compounding this. With strong moves. Dugtrio is not the best, but it does at least have some good speed, and it does at least hit hard enough, with 252 in attack speed. Olivia. She's off with her Armeldo. 252 speed and attack, X-Scissor, Solid Stab, Rock Blast, not the best, but still quite good. Max Defense's Cradilly with Stealth Rocks is absolutely amazing. Energy Ball is, of course, also quite decent. Sandstream Gigalith is quite powerful and very bulky, with a 50% special defense boost, even bulkier with 252 HP physical defense. This thing's not exactly easy to chip away. You're not going to erode its bulk easy. It is monumentally bulky, or should I say megalithiccally bulky, with extremely good amounts of damage considering what it has. It'll also being able to deal some decent damage, but that really isn't its purpose, even though it actually can do it decently well. But then, there is Lycanrock. Strong. It's a pretty good attacker, even if it isn't the most aggressive. It has boosted 252 HP and defense, so it can hit hard and it can take hits decently well, especially with that Rocky MZ. And if its sand is up, it can definitely deal some great damage while bulking special hits quite well. Acerola with a Bayonet 252 in attack and speed. Not bad, not spectacular, but it can hit quite hard. 252 defense, special defense, Drift Blim is bulky. With Baton Pass, Focus Energy, and Amnesia, can pass it on to any ally on her team and make them a huge threat. Delmise is not great. It's bulky, same moves as Drift Blim, but its moves are terrible, save for Heavy Slam. Frostlass also not great, but it's not bad. 252 speed special attack, and it can at least do some damage and not rely on the Blizzard Bird's most amount of damage. Sand, spectacular. 252 HP special attack. Bulky, great offense to back that up. And a Ghost DMZ. Everything is solid on her. Kahili, up last again. Braviary is a solid Pokemon. Sheer Force Crushla is incredibly strong, and Brave Bird is great, backed by 252 speed and attack, and even if Air Slash and Scary Face aren't great, the other two moves more than make up for it. Plus it is naturally fast and quite bulky. Hawlucha has the same EVs as Braviary, but it's not overly the greatest thing, and that's mostly due to the Flying Presses type effectiveness profile just not being good. Everything else also is not stab. It also doesn't exactly have the greatest in anything other than speed, so it can't hit overly hard, and it really doesn't like getting hit itself, so not great. Oricario is the same. It's not great, even in stats, with 252 special attack and speed, doesn't hit overly hard, and it's not fast enough for its bulk. Mandibuzz, though, is quite stellar. 252 in both defenses, and again, Flatter and Punishment, excellent combination. Brave Bird is at least strong to compensate for its lack of power in terms of other places, and Bone Rush is mostly ineffectual, but at least it's a nice idea. Toucannon, though, still a menace. Skillink, two solid moves boosted by that. Screech, great. Flying EMZ Big Blast, boosted by that 252 attack and speed. Absolutely stellar. Rematches for the Elite Four. Most of Mullane's team is the exact same, EVs and all, but a few moves have changed, all of which are just strict upgrades. The same applies for our Olivia. Armaldo upgraded movesets. Cradilly, though, has been drastically changed with offensive stats, 252 in both, and a full attacking set. Her Probo Pass is a full offensive move pool, still the same EV spread, all on upgrades. Acerola is much the same. Move changes for Drift Blim in a great way, letting it be offensive and disruptive. Delmise much more aggressive with physical moves, and at the very least, Frostlass does have Thunderbolt for coverage. Palisand's Sludge Bomb is a decent upgrade for what it has. All around, fantastic. Kahili is the same other than Braviary being significantly better. Lucha and Oricario are, of course, the exact same. Mandibuzz is much improved with Snarl, Roost, and Toxic, pairing with its great Stellar Bulk, and Toucannon, still great. Added Brick Break in place of Screech, very solid. After entering the Hall of Fame, Ryuki is in the Cantonian Gym. Oddly, he has no EVs, but his team is not bad. Out of them, Garchomp is a menace, and has fantastic moves. Grandpa, not bad. Good moves, even if it's not great, it's slow enough to, of course, get the Berserker off. Turtonator, not great, not bad, bulky, decently offensive stats for what it has. A solid Dragonite. Komo, much the same. He is battled in a Total Defense match later. Same, no EVs as before. Same Pokemon, same moves, everything is just leveled up. Not bad, but not great. Kukui for his Title Defense match. Lycanrock is solid, 252 speed and attack. Stealth Rocks. As a lead, it's not terrible. He's also able to take a hit. Not especially well, but at least can take a hit. Alola Ninetales, 252 in speed and special attack. It's bulky enough to take a hit quite well, and it does at least have some pretty respectable power for that bulk with its moves. Braviary, 252 speed and HP. Not terrible. It's not as good as the prior ones we've looked at, but it can set up Tailwind, and it's not terrible on its own. Plus, it's still got a pretty solid Brave Bird. Magnezone is a bulky 252 HP and special attack, backing an amazing offensive-defensive combination. 2 great stabs and Mirror Coat, sturdy for fighting any special attackers. Thunder Wave, solid attack, and great power all across the board. Snorlax, extremely bulky, 252 HP special defense, pretty great moves around the board, good damage while being bulky, fantastically so. Then there is the starter, 252 in HP and attack for Incineroar, special attack, special defense for Primarina, and attack and speed for Decidueye. All have the starting type Z crystal, and have very good moves, particularly Incineroar and Decidueye, but Primarina does at least have some significantly higher brute force power. Sophocles, Togedemaru is 252 speed and attack. Electric terrain will set up for his team to do some great damage, as well as its own Zing Zap. Iron Barbs and Spiky Shield are pretty good physical deterrents. Magnezone is pretty solid, as we've been over before, 252 special attack and defense. With Analytic, it's actually not bad, with some stellar moves. Electivire is okay, it has 252 special attack, 252 speed and attack, but it isn't the most super spectacular. Vikavolt, though, monstrous 252 special attack and speed, plus excellent stats naturally. The 252 speed doesn't really help all that much, but still, it's pretty powerful. 252 in both defenses, Alolan Golem with sturdy. It's got pretty good moves. Not bad, not especially fantastic, but it is solid. Hapu for her title defense match against you. Golurk is great. Phantom Force and Earthquake are great ideas, however, No Guard Dynamic Punch is stellar. The only problem, though, is that No Guard lets it be hit while in Phantom Force. It also has max attack and max HP. Gastrodon is a mixed bag. Solid moves, but it is not an attacker, but it can do some damage, because it does at least have some good persistence with its EVs. Both Crocodile and Flygon are extremely solid, max attack and speed for both. Great physical moves, Earthquake, Intimidate, and Levitate respectively are solid. Mudsdale, also fantastic, solid moveset, stamina, great. 252, both physical stats, Groundium Z. Not much need to be said, it's great. Then, there's our old buddy Tristan. Same Pokemon as was in Sun and Moon, just a leveled up difference. His team has no EVs, so there is no difference. All comments here are the same. Now, to the super bosses! Morimoto and Iwao, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, in a multi-battle. Morimoto's Gengar, modest 252 speed special attack, excellent moves. Adamant Machamp, No Guard, Dynamic Punch, Stone Edge, 252 attack and speed, stellar. Other moves are only okay. Problem is that Dragonite is modest with 252 special attack and speed. Its moves are okay, the problem is that Draco Meteor is self-crippling. Multiscale, though, is fantastic. Iwao, though, his battle partner is not as great. Kecleon is interesting, but not great. It has Protean and it is fast, with a jolly nature. Ambipom is actually decent. It's fast, but not much else, with Adamant and Technician, at least to boost its damage. Blissey is not stellar. It's meant to be aggressive, but it just doesn't have the right stats to do this. Now there is post-game with Team Rainbow Rocket. Leading off, we have Maxi of Team Magma. Intimidate Mightyena is not bad, and a 252 attack and defense, but actually can take hits decently well from this perspective, and at least do some decent damage. Golbat 252 speed special attack is not great, but it is far from bad with toxic poison, and at least can get in a few hits before going down. 252 both defenses pain split on Weezing, very solid. Nothing meant to be aggressive, but it's meant to just stall, deal damage, and pain split away and heal. Not bad. Camerupt is okay, 252 both offenses and good moves in both. It can definitely do some stuff. But Maxi's Groudon is the real prize. This thing is a behemoth. Fantastic 252 in both offenses. Great moves, even though his only physical option is of course Earthquake, which is naturally quite brutal. The fact that it has such great stats, weather, and just great moves for its special attack, it can more than compensate. Archie. His first two Pokemon are the exact same as Maxie, but his Muck is actually very solid. 252 special defense and attack with decent coverage options. Sharpedo, full speed and attack ahead, with a pretty good moveset for what it is. But then, there's the Kyogre. 252 special, 252 in both special stats. It is absolutely monstrous. It is a Leviathan of Doom. Not much needs saying. Cyrus up next. Houndoom with full special attack and speed EVs go quite well with its full special kit. Pretty solid moves. Honchkrow is not the best, though everything it does have is actually... everything beyond Night Slash is not decent. But at least it is EV'd in both offenses to take advantage of it. Crowbat is pretty much the same, full attack and speed. Super Fang is good, it can let it get off some good damage by cutting HP regardless, but it's not likely to be the most KOing potential thing. But if it can drop something into half, take a hit, it can follow up and deal some great damage and potentially get a KO. And potentially get a hit on the next Pokemon to do the same thing. But it's definitely not the greatest thing in the world. Weavile is very solid, 252 speed and attack with great stabs and Brick Break, though quick attack is not especially great. Depending on which version played, you'll have a Dialga in Ultra Sun and a Palkia in Ultra Moon, but both are menaces across space and time. Dialga and Palkia will both have 252 EVs in special attack and HP, with their astronomical bulk and power being more than buffed by this. Excellent moves with their signature moves and a stab secondary with both Earthquake and Thunderbolt. Excellent. Lysander is also next. Mienshao is not bad, 252 in speed and attack, great moves, U-turn. Same is applicable to Pyroar for 252 speed and special attack, and a pretty decent special kit plus Will-O-Wisp. Honchkrow, full specially kitted with 252 speed and special attack, but it is its weaker offensive stat, going for special. This Mega Gyarados is a force to be reckoned with. Intimidate when sent in initially, then it takes on Mold Breaker for even better aggression, exceptionally high bulk, 252 speed and attack. Amazing move pool, it is a monster. Depending on which version of the game, Ultra Sun, he will have a Xerneas, Ultra Moon, Yveltal, 252 HP and special attack for both. Extremely solid moves, even if Yveltal cannot benefit from Dark Aura. Xerneas is a monster. If he can get off a Geomancy, not much can stop this thing. Next, we go to Ghetsis. As always, he's leading off with the 252 both defenses Cofagrigus. Power Split to cripple attackers, Will-O-Wisp to add insult to injury to physical attackers. Shadow Ball, after it's boosted itself up by crippling you, it'll do some great damage. Even if it doesn't do that, it can still do decent damage on its own for its stellar bulk. Bouffalant, 252 speed and attack, great coverage options with stab and reckless, wonderful. Bisharp, 252 both physical stats, solid moves. It's fantastic. Hydreigon, 252 special attack and speed, amazing moves, excellent stats normally. It is a menace in every way possible. Depending on which version, he will have a Zekrom in Ultra Sun, a Reshiram in Ultra Moon. They both have solid moves, their signature and coverages with 252 in both offenses. They are very great. But now, we move on to the main big boss himself, Giovanni. Honestly, his team is not that great. Yes, Dugtrio is a bit of a good sand setter with Sandstorm, good Earthquake, fast, but that's really all it's got. The Nidos do have neat moves, and with 252 attack and HP, Nidoking can take a hit, and actually deal some good in return, but Throat Chop and Aqua Tail aren't especially that great, unless hitting exceptionally glassy Pokemon. Nidoqueen with 252 HP and special attack does not hold up as well due to its much lower special attack, even if its moves are much better. It does have better bulk than King, but not enough to let it last longer in any meaningful capacity. But Rhyperior is a beast, Fantastic move. Fantastic. That's 252. Both physical. Solid rock. This thing isn't the terror of his team. That's what we get to right now. In Ultra Sun, he will have Mega Mewtwo X. In Ultra Moon, Mega Y. 252 in speed and the respective attacking stat. These things are menaces. They have 780 base stat total. Far in excess of everything. The only thing that is stronger than them is the Omni-boosted Ultra Necrosma. And even though that thing is truly terrifying, these things have significantly higher single stats before the boosts. The boosts make Ultra Necrozma stronger, though. This is the Cynthia mentality taken to the utter extreme. A chip-down prior team with a massive cleaner in the clothes. And honestly, these things can do it! They both have utterly titanic stats, and great coverage paired up with absurd speed. Other than Rhyperior, none of his team is especially imposing, except for this thing. With their sheer power able to break through just about anything. Their attacking stats are higher than even Attack Deoxys, for reference, with pretty comparable speed. And actual bulk! And that is Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Okay, there is a lot to unpack in this game. I think it might actually have the most battles of any game we will be covering. But how does it stack up with the difficulty of the prior ones? Actually, very well. Yes, a number of important battles for the story do not have full teams, as low as 3 Pokemon. But regular Sun and Moon did have many of the same things. And unlike that game, this game has EVs and natures. And that makes them extremely brutal. They are default harder on their own. But there are many improvements just made to those teams as well, outside of just adding on EVs. The totems have been improved. Guzma has definitely stepped up and improved his teams comparatively between the games. This game is in every single way a step up from the prior Sun and Moon. And even though we didn't cover it, every single trainer in this game actually has EVs. Even regular generic NPC battles will have natures and 252 in the favorable stat of the Pokemon being boosted. That is how much has been gone in this game. So this game, even though we're not actually considering that, this game actually is more difficult than regular Sun and Moon, even just in the important battles. That's not even including, again, the fact that regular generic NPCs do have natures and EVs. Not to the same extent, but they still have them. The game is extremely consistent with its battle difficulty. Rarely does the game deviate, and when it does deviate, it is a drastic singular spike down for immediately return to the status quo, even putting aside the post-game battles. This game stacks up very much well compared to Sun and Moon. The post-game just puts it even higher. We might actually have the most difficult post-game of any of them. Yes, some Pokemon here and there on teams were quite questionable, but the EV and nature choices definitely shored those up and made them significantly better than they could otherwise. It actually made them quite competent, even if normally they aren't that great. And it's also a much more infrequent occurrence, occurring maybe every 5 or 6 fights, with around 4 Pokemon per each fight. So only 1 out of every maybe 20, 25 is really questionable. Alola definitely brought the challenge.